Imagine being born in a place where freedom is only a dream, where speaking your mind can cost you your life, where every day is a battle for food, water, and safety. For millions of people around the world, this is not fiction, it is reality. Today, we're diving deep into the 16 worst countries to live in, places where poverty, war, corruption, and repression strip people of the most basic human rights. But before we begin, remember, this video isn't to shame these nations or their people. It's to shine a light on the harsh realities they face and to hope for a future where no one has to live in fear or despair. Now, let's begin our journey. 1. Bangladesh. Bangladesh is a nation of resilience and culture, but it is also a country trapped by poverty, overpopulation, and frequent natural disasters. Floods and cyclones devastate communities every year, leaving millions without homes or food. For religious minorities, especially Hindus, life can be even harder. Discrimination and violence often leave them feeling unsafe in their own homeland. Despite the people's determination, everyday survival here is an uphill struggle. 2. Pakistan. Pakistan is rich in history and culture, but life for many citizens is overshadowed by poverty, terrorism, and instability. The nation has struggled with extremist groups, corruption, and political chaos.
And you're probably wondering what he's doing alongside this old man. It is, in fact, a bachabazi. The practice of bachabazi has historical and cultural roots in Pakistan. Bachabazi involves the sexual exploitation of young boys by older men.
It once sheltered notorious figures like Osama bin Laden, fueling international mistrust. Minorities, especially Christians and Hindus, often face violence, forced conversions, and persecution. While some Pakistanis thrive, many live in constant fear of both poverty and oppression.
The fight against this practice all the more difficult. Bachabazi is illegal and considered a serious violation of children's rights in Pakistan. Authorities and organizations are working to combat this practice and protect vulnerable children.
3. Afghanistan. Afghanistan has been at war for over 4 decades, and its people have suffered the consequences. After the Taliban's return to power, women lost basic rights like education, work, and freedom of movement. Terrorism, bombings, and hunger haunt the population daily. The economy is collapsing, and millions of Afghan families go to bed starving. Afghanistan is one of the hardest places in the world to simply exist, especially for women and children. 4. Yemen. Yemen is living through one of the worst humanitarian crises on earth. A brutal civil war has torn the nation apart, leaving millions displaced. Famine, cholera outbreaks, and lack of clean water plague families. Hospitals are bombed, food supplies are blocked, and children die every single day from preventable causes. Yemen is a country where survival itself is a privilege. 5. North Korea. North Korea is often called the world's most repressive nation. Citizens live under constant surveillance, unable to freely speak, travel, or even think for themselves. Food shortages are severe, and punishment for disobedience are brutal. Entire families can be sent to prison camps for one person's mistake. To the outside world, North Korea is a mystery, but for its people, it is a daily nightmare of oppression and control.
They were briefed by the National Intelligence Service, NIS. The agency did not specify how many and which drug makers were targeted. Ha said the NIS confirmed there was no damage from the hacking attempt.
6. South Sudan. Born in 2011, South Sudan is the world's youngest country, but its short life has been plagued by war and famine. Ethnic violence has displaced millions, while basic infrastructure like roads, hospitals, and schools barely exists. Families walk miles for clean water, and children often grow up knowing only conflict and hunger. Instead of celebrating peace, South Sudanese people are still fighting for survival. 7. Haiti. Haiti has endured centuries of struggle, from colonial exploitation to devastating earthquakes and hurricanes. Today, the country is overrun by poverty, gang violence, and political instability. Many Haitians live without access to healthcare, education, or even electricity. Life is so uncertain that countless Haitians risk their lives on boats, fleeing in search of safety and opportunity elsewhere. 8. Syria. Once a beautiful country with rich history, Syria has been devastated by over a decade of civil war. Bombings, chemical attacks, and violence have turned cities into rubble. Millions of Syrians are now refugees, forced to flee their homes and start over in foreign lands. Those who remain face sanctions, poverty, and destroyed infrastructure. For Syrians, survival often means choosing between hunger and displacement. 9. Somalia. Somalia has endured endless cycles of famine, drought, and war. The extremist group Al-Shabaab terrorizes communities, while corruption weakens the government. Ordinary people live in extreme poverty, with little access to food, water, or medical care. Despite its coastline and resources, Somalia remains one of the most unstable and dangerous countries in the world. 10. Central African Republic. In the heart of Africa, the Central African Republic struggles with constant violence from rebel groups. Civilians are caught in the crossfire, forced to flee into the forests or neighboring countries. Hunger and poverty dominate daily life, while healthcare and education are almost non-existent. Though the nation is rich in diamonds and minerals, its people live in crushing poverty. 11. Sudan. Sudan's recent conflict between rival military factions has left the nation in chaos. Thousands have been killed and millions displaced. The healthcare system is collapsing, food is scarce, and crime is rampant. Families are torn apart as they try to escape the violence. Sudan is a heartbreaking reminder of how quickly a country can fall into ruin. 12. Democratic Republic of the Congo. The DRC is one of the richest countries in the world in terms of natural resources, yet its people are some of the poorest. Armed groups fight over minerals, exploiting civilians through violence and forced labor. Epidemics like Ebola and measles sweep through communities, while millions live in displacement camps. In the DRC, wealth is everywhere, except in the hands of the people. 13. Cuba. Cuba's government controls nearly every aspect of life under its one-party system. Citizens face censorship, shortages of food and medicine, and declining living conditions. Low incomes make survival difficult, and many Cubans risk dangerous journeys by sea to escape. Despite its natural beauty and vibrant culture, Cuba is a place where opportunity and freedom are hard to find. 14. Eritrea. Often nicknamed the North Korea of Africa, Eritrea is ruled by a brutal dictatorship. There are no elections, no free press, and no civil liberties. Military service is mandatory and often indefinite, trapping young men and women in forced labor. Thousands flee the country every year, risking death in deserts and seas just to escape repression. 15. Burundi. Burundi is one of the poorest nations on earth. Corruption and political violence dominate life, while dissenters face harassment or worse. Access to clean water, healthcare, and education is limited, leaving families in a cycle of poverty. Despite fertile land, hunger and malnutrition are widespread, making survival a daily challenge. 16. Iran. Iran is a nation with deep history and culture, but its people face repression under a strict Islamic regime. Women are forced to wear the hijab by law, freedom of speech is suppressed, and protests are met with violence. The economy suffers under sanctions and mismanagement, leaving many struggling to survive. For young Iranians, dreams of freedom and prosperity are often crushed by censorship and control. And there you have it, the world's 16 worst countries to live in today. Each of these nations is home to millions of innocent people who simply want the same things we all do: safety, dignity, and freedom. Their suffering is not a reflection of their worth, but of the systems and circumstances that failed them. Let's hope that one day, these countries rise from their struggles, and every human being can live without fear, poverty, or discrimination. Because no one should be denied a peaceful life simply because of where they were born. If you found this video eye-opening, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and share it. The more people know, the more voices can rise for change.